In past seasons of Search4Hurt, we've been privileged enough to train with some of Australia's greatest sporting teams. From basketball, soccer, rugby league, and even AFL. But there's a sport which has so far eluded us. It's played by very tall individuals, and it's not basketball. The sport is played in the swimming pool, but it's not specifically swimming. The team that I'm training with today is the men's Australian water polo team, the Aussie Sharks. So we're kicking off season 3 with a sporting team like no other, the Aussie Sharks, who are the Australian men's water polo team. But before I get into it, what is water polo and what can I expect?
When we think of rough team sports, rugby, Aussie rules and other forms of football come to mind. Cuts, bruises, broken bones and career-ending injuries are common in these codes, and as spectators, we love to see modern-day gladiators put their bodies on the line. But intense physical sport and the danger that goes with it isn't exclusive to the pitch. And one of the most brutal team sports can be found unexpectedly in the pool. Water polo is thought to have originated in Scotland in the late 19th century as a sort of water rugby. Similar to soccer, a water polo team consists of 6 outfield players and a goalkeeper. A game is played over 4 8-minute quarters with a 30-second shot clock. The Australian men's squad, known as the Aussie Sharks, compete in a range of competitions in preparation for major events such as the Olympic Games, World Championships, World Cup and World League. Okay, let's see if Matt Murphy sinks or swims when training with these giants of the pool.
I'm at Sydney Olympic Park, the sporting mecca of New South Wales and training ground for the Aussie Sharks, where I'm catching up with 27-year-old captain and Olympian Reece Howden, as well as 24-year-old centre-back Tyler Martin. And I want to know, is water polo as rough as I'm led to believe? With the sport of water polo, there's, I guess, the unwritten rules or the unwritten goings on that actually happen when you're in the water. Can you, I guess, talk to us about a few of the things that happen that we don't really see that much of?
What happens in the water stays in the water, doesn't it?
I think the higher level you get, the less dirty it becomes, like a lot of sports. And also in games, it's really risky to try and do something outrageously aggressive because you're going to cost your team. You can get kicked out for the game and things like that. So training games are a lot where I guess a situation where things can happen above the water. Apart from that, knees and punches and elbows are probably the most common. There's grabbing, but it's not like potentially the stereotype suggests.
Obviously the higher level of competition, there's a mental side to the game. So, what are the mental cues when you're absolutely gassed?
I think a good way I like to sort of help the team or myself as well is to start being a bit more vocal in the water. By talking, you're putting yourself in the game a bit more.
I think another thing for me is knowing that you've done the work. Look, I can't say we're the hardest training team in the world, but for me, I think we're training as hard, if not harder, than anyone out there. So we know that, and
it's a good mental cue to take into a game.
Yeah. And another thing that just happens, and sometimes just happens in the flow of the game, is like a big play. Someone will score a goal, someone will give a good block, a goalie will make a penalty save or a one-on-one save, and that'll just fire everyone up. So you don't necessarily want to wait for that. You want to almost make it happen, or someone make it happen. But that definitely fires me, and I think the team up when a big play happens like that.
Yeah. When you are coming into season, what are we talking your diet looks like?
I mean, if you're not looking after yourself, before and after training, I mean, that counts as your diet as well. If you're not getting the right energy and systems in, things like that, and the right food into your body, you're not going to recover as quicker, and then therefore you're not going to train as well. I reckon diet does play a big part.
We're training for basically 2 hours, or 2.5 hours, say twice a day, and the games are around about, including about an hour and a half, just say 2 hours to give yourself that buffer. So you don't need, in my opinion, the sustained energy that you might get from these processed foods. You might actually be storing too much. So the easy to burn fats are actually great, in my experience anyway.
When we come back, Matt finds out just how hard and sometimes bizarre water polo training can be.
I'm at Sydney Olympic Park, the sporting mecca of New South Wales, and training ground for the Aussie Sharks. Before the hurt begins, I've just got one more question for the boys. Sum up what it feels like to represent your country in your chosen sport.
You can't put anything on it, really. It's very, very proud to be able to represent Australia and everyone here, and hopefully we can always do our best in the water and lead by example. So yeah, it's a massive honour, huge honour.
Yeah, in the same vein as what Reece said, it's a big honour, and it's something that, look, I haven't played in the Olympics yet. I'm hoping to try and make the Olympics, and I think that would be the pinnacle.
Tyler and Reece seem to have a real passion for their sport, but I'm super keen to see how these guys train in the gym for a sport that's played in the pool. So we've headed over to the New South Wales Institute of Sport gym to train with head strength and conditioning coach, Diane Contek. Diane, thanks for having us, mate.
Thank you for inviting us.
What can we expect in today's gym session?
We will try to do some regular training. So we will start with the basic warming up. After warming up, we will do some intro to the combat. After that, we will do some strength endurance.
Well, let's get stuck into it.
Yeah, let's start.
Diane's warm-up protocol puts a lot of emphasis on the hip flexors, which is a muscle group that is overused when it comes to a water polo athlete. It may be that I'm a little rusty, but Diane's warm-up protocol is killing me. My heart rate is already jacked. I'm definitely warmed up, I can tell you right now. I think the Garmin said 160, 162 already.
As you saw, in these 10-12 minutes we finished with the basic warming up. Now we will start with the more specific, which means more wrestling, more contact exercise.
On to the body weight drills, the first of which is a piggyback race. And then we move on to the bridle carry, followed by another carry, followed by a push-up with a wheelbarrow variation, and finally, I don't even know what this one's called. Even just being that person's hard.
Yeah. This is just, it's less using the equipment and the weights, so it's more like a body weight exercise, but in couples, which is more convenient for them. As I told from the beginning, it's contact sport, so we need this kind of exercise.
Diane raises a valid point that utilising wrestling techniques just at body weight is more beneficial than going to the gym and throwing around weights because it closely replicates what happens in the water. But some of Diane's drills are a little bizarre.
He just does it to team building and a little bit of it does tire you out, you get knackered, so that's what it's about.
Do you like being on bottom or top? So it's my turn, and to be honest, it's a lot more difficult than it looks. I can't even get my hands around his shoulders.
That's it. A little bit slow, but that's it.
So I've just met this guy, and now our faces are centimetres apart, and I'm sweating all over him. Not quite halfway. But Diane's right. Having a laugh is really, really good for the team building. Don't show this to my wife. That was tough. Enough of the fun and games. Diane said it's time to get into the real wrestling.
Okay, guys, let's start.
So we're practicing a few pushing and grappling exercises. I'm getting absolutely ragdolled.
Of course, maybe this is first time for him doing this, but I can see he's a very motivated guy. Push him, push him, push him. That's too slow, Matt.
Beginning to get a pretty clear understanding of how all these different moves can benefit a water polo player in the pool. Especially when you're trying to gain a positional advantage.
Run, run, run.
After the break, Matt rounds out the gym session and heads to the pool.
I've had my butt absolutely handed to me in the wrestling session, much to the enjoyment of Diane as well. And with the difference in weight class, it's no surprise that I'm absolutely smashed. The wrestling on land is hard enough, let alone, getting pushed underwater and being in water and trying to wrestle. When you consider that when on land, your muscular effort to power output is around 90%. So for example, when you sprint your hardest, you'll run your fastest. But in an environment with a lot more resistance, such as the pool, where you're in water, your power output is significantly handicapped. And this is the reason why you need to train extra hard on land to reap the benefits in the pool. So to add that extra difficulty, we round out the session with some less explosive, but just as demanding body weight work. It's not like a bench press. With most of these guys well over the 80 kilo mark, I've definitely got my work cut out.
It's tough for you because he's 20-25 kilos less than him, and all this land-based stuff is body weight stuff. So if you're working with basically a 20 kilo just difference, it's going to be tough.
Just even the leg press, like I've got decently strong legs, but just trying to press him, like because he was all over the place, unstable, like it's much harder than a 45 leg press.
That's right.
So we finished our gym session with the boys, and that alone was tough enough. Now I guess to get a true understanding of what it takes to be an Olympic level water polo player, we've come to the pool. A little birdie's told me that the boys are not going to take it easy on me at all, and all this is going to happen in front of a live audience. I've never done anything like this before, but it's pretty clear that I'm at a significant height and weight disadvantage. But I'm in safe hands with one of Croatia's greatest ever water polo players, Elvis Fatović, who leads the session and gets us straight into the pool.
Eggbeater kick is first 25 every time. On the way back is a medley every time with the breaststroke kick.
The first thing I need to learn is the different kick techniques used.
A water polo player relies heavily on two core kicking techniques. The breaststroke kick, where each leg makes a broad stroke from fully tucked to fully extended. And the eggbeater kick, where each leg makes a circle-like motion from the knee down.
Or breaststroke kicks. Or every time when we shoot, every time when we jump, we use the breaststroke kick.
and when we're passing and all other things, we use the eggbeater kick.
By being efficient at each of these kicking techniques, the player is able to swim without having to rely on their arms, therefore freeing them up for passing, shooting and blocking. Knowing this, we can move straight into the second eggbeater drill.
Okay, now, again, is the eggbeater kick. We are all the time in horizontal position. Hands are all the time above the water. Stay on each side for a 5-6 eggbeater kick and then change the position. All the time, hands are above the water. Ready? Go!
The boys make it look pretty easy by being efficient at this technique. But I'm barely keeping my head above water. My inexperience is clearly showing, and I'm having to put in a hell of a lot of effort just to try to stay afloat. I competed in my first triathlon around age 12 to 13, and also started specific swim training then as well. So I guess you could say that I was pretty confident being in the water. But as much as I feel confident, I'm really struggling with the eggbeater technique. I'm only 5 minutes into the session, and simply completing the drills is becoming increasingly difficult.
Whistle, turn around for 180 degrees. Hands up all the time.
Obviously, Matt's been put through his paces. Probably expected though, as first time, attempting eggbeater and water polo. But this is also only warm up, so he's still got another couple of hours yet to go. So see how he goes.
I'm halfway through my day training with the Aussie Sharks. Elvis has already put me through my paces, and we're only just through the warm-up. My legs are absolute toast from all the non-stop kicking. And on top of that, as soon as we start the passing drills, I think I might have tweaked something in my elbow. My elbow. Oh. But I guess if you want to train with the best, you need to be at your best and at least try to rise the occasion. So we simply move on to the next drill.
Now we have specific exercise with the stretch cords, with a lot of eggbeater kick and breaststroke kick.
For this drill, we need to simply swim the width of the pool, using only the eggbeater kick with no arms. But to make things even more difficult, I'm tethered by a bungee cord. And it's not long at all until I've fallen quite a ways behind the boys. With the resistance of the cord, I'm literally motionless. I have to put everything into swimming freestyle just to make it to the other side.
I can't believe that. They did that all legs. That's ridiculous. That was hard even on the arms.
When Elvis said that this was only the warm-up, it sunk in pretty quick how good these guys really are.
Matt, if you can't, just swim.
No matter how hard I try, I just keep getting pulled backward.
Swim again, Matt, swim again.
The bungee cord makes it so much harder on the limbs. I simply have to keep going back to freestyle.
Now eggbeater, now eggbeater.
I just don't have that solid, efficient eggbeater kick.
You still got a cord on? I can't believe they can do all that with their legs. I was legs and arms, and that was max trying to get to the wall to hold on to. I just can't believe their legs have that sort of power. Unbelievable.
Matt, we wait for you.
So, in Elvis's legendary style, it's on to the next drill.
Okay, guys. First, we will start with the eggbeater kick, the basic one.
And again, it involves the eggbeater kick. But this time, I get to hold a 4-kilo medicine ball above my head. Elvis blows the whistle, and immediately I sink, much to the amusement of the rest of the boys.
Matt,
Elvis throws me a 3 kilo ball instead. But it makes no difference, so I need to go even lighter again.
Matt, don't rush.
Not only can I not keep my head above water, but I seem to be drifting all over the pool. It's embarrassing enough without Elvis and Reese giving me stick about it.
You want a light one?
Here's the girls' one.
Ready?
Finally, a weight that I can stay afloat with. It's been a long day training with the Sharks, and I've gained a pretty good understanding of some of the techniques used in the game. But now, it's time to put that training into a game-like scenario.
So we will try some exercise what we usually do with our goalkeeper. First we will try with him and then we will challenge Matt.
So Elvis wants to put me between the sticks. I've got to try to save a few penalty shots. First up, the guys show me how it's done. And from behind the goals, you can see how quick these shots are moving. The team's average shot speed is around 75 kilometres per hour, enough to break a nose or at least give me a black eye. It's a little intimidating. I feel like I'm lined up in front of the firing squad. Their shots are moving so fast, I can't even get close to them. And they're even catching me out on the lob shot. So, out of a dozen, I at least managed to save one. With a little help from the goalpost. I'm rubbish. You just watch the lobs come over and you can't do anything about it, where these guys are just all over it. Like, you know, the only way that they were going to miss is if they hit the upright or the crossbeam. Now that I've had a little taste of it, I'm keen for more gameplay. So Elvis has us play a scrimmage game. It's white caps versus black caps.
We will play just 10 minutes. A little new experience for Matt with the best Australian football players.
My team gets a penalty shot, and who gets to take it? That's right, the worst player, me. But of course, the keeper easily saved it. I get a second penalty, and it's the dying seconds of the game. Now the pressure's really on. The keeper gets a hand on it, but it's not quite enough. I actually get the goal. What a day. Every limb is hurting. I'm cramping. And not only that, I feel like I've swallowed a gallon of water. I'm not sure if I spent more time above the water or below it. The Aussie Sharks were a top bunch of guys, and they even awarded me with a small parting gift.
Take your yellow and learn across yourself. Now we've got you up there on official contests. Thanks a lot for the day, mate.
So, now all that's left is a report card from Elvis himself. How do you think I went?
Well, to be honest, first, you struggle a little bit with the eggbeater kick, but that's not only a problem for you. That's actually many professional players that struggle with that, but you are very passionate of what you're doing, and that's the most important in the sport.
I'm grateful for my time with the Aussie Sharks. They've definitely given me a little bit more of what I've been searching for.